you guys guess what tracks those are? These are just coyote tracks.
Did you hear that?
Today, we were going to be in two places at once. Thomas was going to a state park up in the Mojave Desert with some of his friends. We had done this once before, but not quite on the scale. We were excited to see what would happen to us on both sides of the country.
Darby Creek Metro Park contains 7,000 acres of land, ranging from forests to prairies and wetlands. The park's namesake, two small rivers that wind through it, are state and national scenic rivers.
So this is Batelle Darby Creek Metro Park, and Thomas actually suggested we come here to go hiking while he's off in California at some 5-star lobster restaurant. But this is not the first time I've actually been here. I came here about 2 years ago for a class, and it's where I first learned how to identify some wildflowers and some trees. And also over here, there's a little classroom area. This is where we actually waded in the creek with a big net, and we would pick up some rocks and rub them and catch whatever came off in the net. And we got all sorts of things, shellfish, actual fish, little bugs and nymphs and things like that. It was really fascinating. Unfortunately, it seems a bit too cold to do that right now. Maybe if the sun was out, but I think I will not partake this time.
We had just pulled into the parking lot, and I was happy to bring along two of my good friends, Jess, a hiking enthusiast, and Chris, a professional videographer. We had come for two reasons. First, to check out the park, and second, because there was a new moon, and we really wanted to see the stars. But first, we had to make sure all our gear was together.
Oh, it's in my ear.
One of the draws to this park is that you're able to go off the path, a fact that many desert parks don't let you do.
It's 3:04, and we're Red Rock Canyon. We just started the trail. We're in the middle of the campsite, but the campsite is kind of like a circle, and the camps are on the other part. And then in the middle, you have this, I want to say, grove of Joshua trees, but I mean, you can see it's not really much of a grove. We're walking up to the ridge up there to try and see what we can see.
We made our way down a path to take a look at the river. Drab as a gray winter day might seem, it's always nice to get outside and breathe in the fresh air. And there's something strangely charming about this sort of day. Maybe it's the openness of the woods or the brisk silence.
This bitternut hickory tree has bark that looks a lot like an ash tree in that the ridges are all back and forth and sort of diamond shaped. But the way to tell the difference between this and an ash is to look up at the branches. And ashes will have very pronounced opposite branching twigs, whereas this has a whole mess of alternate branching branches. It's good to know because if you see this, then you can look around on the ground during earlier fall season and find some hickory nuts to eat. And they're actually really good just raw.
Joshua trees cover the landscape. Although given the name Joshua tree, it's actually not a real tree, but part of the yucca family. The Joshua tree itself has many practical uses, but is protected, so we'll save that for another episode. As we pushed on, though, we found a spiky surprise.
So in the Mojave Desert, there's a lot of different types of cactuses out here, and this is a teddy bear cholla, and I was just reading up on these. They're similar to another type of cactus called the jumping cactus, and it's called the jumping cactus because out of nowhere you might find one of these on you, and people would say they jump up on you. Fact of the matter is they stick onto anything, and they have these barbs on the end of their spikes, so it's like spikes on spikes going backwards. So it's incredibly painful and difficult to take off at the same time.
Jess, how do you like the trail?
I like it a lot because of being adventurous
Okay.
and going to the other trail that we want to hike up that mountain over there.
You guys guess what tracks those are? These are coyote tracks.
Did you hear that? I thought it was the kids just now.
Yeah, because two girls just passed by.
It's gonna be like, oh, it's just some girls imitating some wolves or dogs or something. It was not.
There were 2 girls became 10 or something. I think those are some coyotes. That was really cool.
I wish they would have like ran along the riverbank.
Yeah, that would have been
They
good.
would have had some like Discovery Channel.
Not knowing Robby and Andrew had a coyote encounter of their own, we pushed up to the ridge of the park to see what we could see. The view was beautiful and remote, with sagebrush and yucca scattered for miles without end. It was like we were on the surface of Mars, and the brush everywhere looked like rocks strewn lacklusterly. We continued to explore our nearby surroundings. From the strange formations of the rocks to the scattered yucca plants throughout the park. We eventually reached another cliffside with a sharp drop. The color of the valley was truly spectacular. Snow-white rocks were adjacent to the Burgundy Hills, with streaks of amber and salmon painted in the valley, all shadowed by a looming charcoal cliffside. For a desert, this seemed far from empty.
Ohio, on the other hand, looked rather alien itself. There was a frozen river set inside a forested valley, which was carved over 10,000 years ago when the Wisconsin Glacier was retreating.
Far from the cactuses and the yuccas of the desert, the rolling foothills of the Appalachia and the thick forests of Ohio are home to me. Even the cold, believe it or not, that sharp bite I'd feel as I'd hit the frozen air would remind me that better days are coming. It's not that I think Ohio's better than California, or that California's even better than Ohio. It's about that contrast. There are days where you'll seriously yearn for what's familiar. But just as day turns to night, you'll embrace what you know, move on, and make what's around you your own.
We had initially planned to get some good star shots, but it was too cloudy. It was still great to get out and stretch our legs, though. Hearing the coyotes was a nice treat, too.
The day was coming to an end, but honestly, we didn't go out into the middle of nowhere for the day. We came for the night. I wasn't paying attention earlier. And I stepped into the snowbank. My entire foot went down to the snow. That's my foot.
Probably should wait for
My
one
knee
person to
was all
get
the way
out
up
before
to my
another
knees.
one came in.
We're stuck.
Well, you can see my breath.
Here, I'll come out.